Let's go to our next segment, Fairest Calls, inspired by Geico's fair and fast 24/7 claim service.
Do we have to do the Geico stuff while I'm here?
Yep, we do. Let's play the clip.
Holding, number 53, 10-yard penalty.
This literally happens every game. Can we just skip to the action?
Nope, nothing but fair and fast claims, just like Geico. Here's the next clip.
But I don't want to play the clip.
Pass interference, number 34.
Wow, doesn't get any fairer than this, boys.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
Welcome to College Football Playoff Top 25, presented by Allstate.
Decision day, at least the first one. Tonight, a 13-member electoral college delivers the opening planks of the platform that will govern our future, the 12-team college football playoff. Now, early returns will likely reveal a stronghold in Big Ten country in which the districts have been gerrymandered to include the Pacific Northwest. But don't forget that the Rust Belt still carries a whole lot of clout. And just this past weekend, what a remarkable campaign stop in the state of Pennsylvania by the contingent from Ohio that will likely yield a lot of dividends. Now, what about the swing states? Historically, very low turnout from the Bloomington precincts in Indiana, but that has changed. They found an historic candidate which shows no signs of floundering so far, and the returns should be strong there. But to their north, within the swing state of Indiana, there's a historically entrenched independent bloc, one that many believe receives divine intervention from time to time, that has run one of the more confusing campaigns of the season with the biggest gaffe on the board. How will the electorate respond to that? Now, there's been a grassroots ground game in the southeastern corner of the country that has expanded into Texas and figures to see considerable support tonight. But within that, don't forget, the Atlantic Coast leaning support in the heavily urban areas where the votes are a little bit different in Miami and in Dallas. And then what about the Midwest, the Great Plains and the mountain regions? All of that right now, way too close to call. And it's setting us up for a November surprise. It's a little bit early. We need more data, more votes, more returns before we project any winners. But at least tonight, the issues are defined.
Numbers are everywhere, all around us, leading us. More than digits in a sequence, they're symbols of success.
What's my definition of success? Listening to what your heart says.
Take what belongs to you. Downfield, touchdown.
Here, a new landscape awaits. A new path to victory. This is where the line will end and the final test begins. For sole possession of the number one.
Spins, X scores! Can you believe it? Lowers his hand into the end zone.
So many numbers in the world. So many teams vying for this prize.
You'll never be wrong. I know I can change. We are not enough. We are not the same.
But who's counting? We are.
For 10 years, when we unveiled these rankings, we were talking about 4 spots. By definition, at that time, that meant a major conference would be left out. Its champion would be left out no matter what. Things have changed. There are only 4 power conferences now. And the 13-member College Football Playoff Selection Committee, meeting in Grapevine, Texas, a little bit of a different task. No longer do they have to evaluate conference championships. Those are automatically included into the field. Now they have more wiggle room, which also probably means more discrepancy. Glad to have you with us. College Football Playoff Top 25. Coming up in a matter of moments, we will unveil exclusively the rankings. We don't see them until you do. Reese Davis, Booger McFarland, Joey Galloway, Greg McElroy here to guide you through the process. So for 10 years, Joey argued over 4 teams. Joey and Booger both wish there were still 4 teams. But we've got 12. Now, look, I know we've done this a lot, but I want to walk you through exactly what the 12-team playoff will look like and how these teams are selected, how many automatic bids, how many at-large bids. 12 teams will make up the playoff. The 5 highest-ranked conference champions go into the field automatically. It means winning your conference championship game, you get in. The 4 highest-ranked will receive byes into the quarterfinals. Then, remainder of the field will play in the first round. A fifth conference champion will be in there someplace, either depending on where they are ranked, or they will be moved into the 12th spot if they are lower than that. And you see them, we play out the bracket, no reseeding, and ultimately it goes through to the national championship game in Atlanta on January 20th, which Inauguration Day, too, just to sort of bookend things. You start on Election Day, you finish on Inauguration Day. Here it is in writing. 5 highest ranked conference champion, all in automatically. 4 highest receive first round byes. Then that's where the difference between seeding and ranking comes in. Then the 7 at-large teams are determined by the remaining highest ranked teams. And then the thing I think most of us are most excited about, seeds 5 through 8 host the first round game. So that's how it's going to work. We'll keep going over it too, because I know when you start to see differences in the rankings and the seeding, it's going to be a little bit confusing. You have to figure it out. What are you most looking forward to from these first ones?
Well, if you look at the AP Top 10, there's 6 one-loss teams in the AP Top 10, and I'm going to focus in on Georgia and Ohio State. Who's going to be higher in the committee's initial rankings? That's going to be the thing I'm looking at. And number 2, I think Indiana is the most disrespected team in the country. Undefeated Big Ten team where they're ranked. Where does the committee view Indiana based on who they played and based on what they have to come against Ohio State?
This is the first ranking. They didn't get disrespected yet. You got, which is
they have been disrespected.
By who? This is the first ranking.
I understand that.
So this is when, honestly, this is the show when Herb Street would always, while he's petting his dog, would say, everyone relax. This is the first ranking. There's no point of getting upset, no point of being bothered. This is the very first one. There's a lot of football left to be played. So Indiana over here,
yes,
relax. They ain't been disrespected yet. This is the first ranking. Okay. There's a lot of football. They have a chance to prove themselves no matter where you are tonight.
Indiana is going to be a great test case, no doubt about it, because based on who they've played, the age-old adage against who, not great. How they've looked, fantastic. So eye test versus resume. We do this every year. But I think what most people are going to be fascinated. We've gone through this exercise a couple times now, the last couple weeks, and have had some fun at the AP voters' expense. But you're going to realize that we thought the 12-team playoff, we'd be including so many teams. Like, oh, there's no way anyone's getting left out now. We're almost going to let teams in that have no business being there. I think people will find that the 12-team playoff feels like a lot of spots, but that number of teams shrinks really quickly, especially when you take into account the conference champions. So it's going to be fascinating to watch for people to kind of see that, and I imagine the reaction is going to be quite strong.
You know what makes me laugh? Everybody gets all mad at the AP poll. It's often not a lot different from the selection committee. And
maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue.
But also you end up asking people when you say this, okay, what would you do differently? And it's typically maybe Indiana 2 spots high. You know, it's really not much. In Indiana, that 103 strength of schedule, that is the art form, because Indiana's looked fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, they've dropped the people's elbow on everybody in their path. But their task is going to get much tougher coming up in the next few weeks of November. So let's unveil the rankings exclusively. The All-State College Football Playoff Top 25. At number 25, the only team in the country that hasn't trailed for 1 second, the Black Knights of the Hudson Army, led by Jeff Monken. Bryson Daly, hoping he'll be back soon. Their quarterback, they are 8-0 and number 25, just ahead of the Cadets at number 24. A little bit of a surprise. Missouri hasn't looked great here so far.
And people have been beating up the AP for having Missouri in. Missouri beat Vanderbilt, who has some pretty good wins on their resume. So while I don't think Missouri's playing or trending in the right direction, it's understandable that they start at 6-2 with a decent win in the top 25.
At number 23, just ahead of Eli Drinkwitz's Tigers. Speaking of teams trending in the wrong direction after Saturday night, Clemson, Dabo Swinney had problems at the poll today. His son, with the same first name, had already voted. Had to give Dabo a paper ballot. Apparently, the ballot's enough. Got to Clemson at number 23. Number 22, Louisville, who just put it on Clemson on Saturday night. And those 3 losses for the Cardinals, all against good teams and all competitive games. They lost to
ranked 25 teams.
Yeah,
teams.
They lost to Miami, they lost to SMU, and they lost to Notre Dame. And all of them were competitive games. So Jeff Brom's team at number 22. At 21, Washington State. Now, Herb Street has asked this a couple of times on game day. Washington State doesn't have a conference right now. They can't get an automatic bid into the playoff. In order to get into the field, Washington will have to move into at least the top 12, maybe the top 11, depending on where that fifth conference champion is ranked at the end. But Wazoo with a great place at number 21. How about Colorado? 6-2, huge game coming up against Texas Tech on Saturday.
What a weekend Colorado had, being off and then sitting back and watching Iowa State lose and Kansas State lose. Great weekend for Colorado because now they're sitting in a place that if they can win out with a very easy schedule, they got a chance to get in.
Except for maybe Saturday when the tortillas will be flying in Lubbock.
You just did that to Texas A&M and South Carolina, and you took them down. Now you're taking down Colorado.
I mean, just pointing it out.
Yeah,
pointing it out.
There was no picnic playing the Red Raiders. No.
It's not, but they can't stop much most of the time, although they were better on Saturday. I kind of like Colorado in that game. Kansas State, a tough loss to Houston. It really hurt the Wildcats there at number 19, just ahead of K-State at 18. The Pittsburgh Panthers, they got clobbered by SMU on Saturday night, their first loss of the season. Pittsburgh has been opportunistic, and then early in the season, the offense was humming. Offense has sputtered a little bit of late. Panthers still in the mix with only one loss and one loss in ACC play. Iowa State just suffered its first loss at the hands of Texas Tech in Ames last Saturday. Matt Campbell's team is number 17 at 7-1 and still in the mix in a wide open Big 12. Hotty toddy, Ole Miss is 16. Ole Miss is now in a place in the season where everything's an elimination game. And it starts Saturday afternoon at home against Georgia. If Ole Miss loses, virtually no shot of making the 12-team field.
Based on eye test and talent, Ole Miss is among the best teams in college football. Now, have they shot themselves in the foot? Yes, twice against both Kentucky and obviously on the road at LSU, but this is a very dangerous team, and this is one of those teams we talked about. 12 feels like a lot, but man, Ole Miss, they're one of those teams that don't have the margins to get back into it.
I think they lost in overtime to LSU and didn't trail until the game-winning touchdown at the end, and that was the slightest margin of difference, and LSU is in the same boat as Ole Miss. Everything's an elimination game. They have one against Alabama coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah, LSU only has one conference loss, and everything is in front of them. You beat Alabama. They got 4 conference games left. Alabama, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Florida. They win those games, they'll have an opportunity to play for an SEC championship.
You know, that's a great point, too, because LSU feels like only one more loss would do them in. Depending on what else happens, if they win a tiebreaker, get into the SEC championship game. We've talked a lot about hope. There are 2 paths of hope. There's getting into the top 12, and then there's also working your way into your conference championship game and getting an automatic bid. Now, we're going to do this differently this year. Once we get to this point in the rankings, we're going to show you the first and second teams out and then where they would go on the bracket. Texas A&M is number 14, and the Aggies, after the loss to South Carolina, they are the second team out, and the committee has them ranked 14. So the first team out of the field is SMU from the ACC.
All I'm saying is, does that mean Indiana is not disrespected in this? They are now on this bracket, so they are not disrespected. But Boog, to your point.
What if they're not in the top 25?
Why is Army not having the same argument? Why is Army doesn't feel disrespected? They're coming in at 25, and they look really good too. And Indiana's strength of schedule is terrible. But go ahead, Reese.
It is, but I would still say that even Indiana's schedule, they've played some middling teams in the Big Ten, which is a higher level of
really
competition.
Good playing nobody.
They look great. The higher level of competition than Army has faced to this point.
I don't like
Let's get this up. Now, this is really important, guys, because the selection committee has Boise State ranked 12th. This would make Boise State, if they project and win the Mountain West, the 5th highest ranked conference champion. Now, they slot into the 12th because they're ranked 12. If they happen to get ranked higher by the end, then they will be seeded higher. But for the moment, they are seeded 12th. Who's seeded 11th? Who is number 11 in the rankings? Alabama. Elimination game for the Crimson Tide. One would think already with 2 conference losses against LSU Saturday night. Now, Alabama's strength of schedule off the charts, and they've got the huge win against Georgia.
No doubt. And everything is in front of Alabama. They got to get the quarterback, Jalen Milroe, to continue to play at a high level. In the games that they've struggled, he's thrown interceptions, hadn't been able to read the field. But from a defensive standpoint, this defense is getting better and better. Their playmakers are starting to work up front. can Kalen DeBoer get his team to play to the optimal level? I think the biggest difference between a Nick Saban team and a Kalen DeBoer team, Nick Saban's team played to their maximum level more times than not. Kalen hadn't quite got this team to do that yet.
You know, Alabama has not played a team with a losing record, and at the moment doesn't have one on the schedule with the exception of Auburn at the end. Now, Oklahoma may wind up with one, others might, but at this point, nobody has. Number 10. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Now, I brought up in the open one of the more confounding cases because Notre Dame had the great win at A&M. They also had the worst loss on the board, losing at home to Northern Illinois.
They have a win against Navy, which is a good win, even though Navy just dropped another one this weekend. And they have Army coming up, the team I just mentioned, being disrespected by Boog in Indiana.
The Louisville win also very good.
That's a great point, Greg. They've beaten Louisville, and who would have thought that they would need something to offset having to play Florida State on Saturday? Right. And Florida State at 1-8. Number 9 in the rankings, BYU. Now, this is where you have to follow along. They're ranked 9th, but because BYU is leading the Big 12, if it were to end this way, the Cougars, if they win that conference, they would go into the 4 seed, get a bye into the quarterfinals because they would be the 4th highest ranked conference champion.
And this one to me feels underrated. I mean, I look at BYU with a 9 next to their name, undefeated with significant win over number 13 SMU, pounded Kansas State by nearly 30 points, turned them over a bunch in that game. I know they've been outgained in a few different games. I understand that, but I look at game control, undefeated, strength of record. They check a lot of boxes. So at 9, that just feels painfully low with what BYU's accomplished.
They have the game with Utah coming up this weekend on the road, the rivalry game, and ranked just ahead of BYU, the Indiana Hoosiers. Now ranked 8th, but because BYU pushes everybody down a slot, that would give Indiana a road game to start the playoff at seeded 9th.
Well, this goes to show you that Indiana and the committee really values eye test. Because if you're going based exclusively on how teams execute on both sides of the ball, Indiana is up there closer to Oregon than they are to being outside the college football playoff conversation. Now, they're not the brand name, and yes, so far up to this point, they have a strength of schedule that's triple dig. It's not great, but with how they've played and the level in which they've executed at, I think they're appropriately ranked at 8th with the arrow pointing up, given some of the big hurdles they have coming up against Michigan and at Ohio State.
They're like 10-58 all time against Michigan. Wonder, this will be the first test about looking at the helmet across the way and thinking, you know, they always beat us. And then the challenge at Ohio State. Indiana's remaining schedule is in the top 15 in the country, so they'll have their opportunities to prove themselves. Ranked number 7, Tennessee. What a first-round game that would be, huh? In Neyland Stadium.
Take the over.
Here comes Cignetti and the Hoosiers into Knoxville. See, that's
you like the over. I might like the under.
I like the over.
The defense.
Indiana has been scoring a lot of points, and Tennessee will have to stay with them. Take the over.
Tennessee's got an argument to make right here, though. I mean, they're sitting at 8. I understand that. Or 7, excuse me. I understand that. But there's an argument to be made that their resume is actually better than several other one-loss teams that are likely going to be in front of them, like Texas and Penn State.
And Greg, I gave you Herbie's line earlier, and you're totally blown right
matters.
past it. It is the
matters.
First ranking.
You tried to say this last year, and we sat here on selection day, and
it's the first ranking, but it's a glimpse inside what the committee is thinking. And I think the committee is holding the Arkansas loss against Tennessee.
Just win.
And you know what? I think you're right. And also Alabama, that's their biggest win. Alabama's not, they're in the field. That's a great win. I'm not trying to diminish it, but Alabama's not playing its best at the moment.
But they're inside. Just win. That's it.
Number 6, and Tennessee, too, also with an opportunity against Georgia and could get to the SEC championship game. Going to be a little bit tougher for Penn State to get into the Big Ten championship game, one would think, after losing to Ohio State. They don't play Oregon, but Penn State, Notre Dame, that would be fun, and Happy Valley. Texas is number 5. Alabama and Texas don't play in the regular season as it stacks up right now. Crimson Tide would go to Austin.
And Texas is interesting to me because when you look at their resume and who they played, on the road at Michigan. Michigan at the time in the AP was number 10. The other one they have is Oklahoma. At the time, Oklahoma was 18. Both of those teams, depending upon how the committee looked at those teams at the time, aren't very good football teams right now. Right. So when you look at Texas' resume, they lost to Georgia. They beat Vandy in a 3-point game. Greg, to your point of these other teams deserve to be better, I'm not quite sure where Texas deserves to be. They're sitting at 5 right now. That seems high with their resume so far.
Maybe, but I'm good with Texas at 5.
Yeah.
I think it's deserved. I mean, you brought it up earlier, Joey, when we were talking before the show. After you played Georgia, you're beat up.
Yeah.
And you go into Vanderbilt, they got the win.
They haven't beat anybody, though.
Fair enough.
Who have they beat?
No, it's fair. It's a fair point. All right, number 4. The Miami Hurricanes leading the ACC. They have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat on multiple occasions. They are ranked 4. They would be seeded 3rd.
And I think when you look at Miami, I think Cam Ward is going to win the Heisman Trophy. He's been that good throughout this college football season, but he has to be because he's got to make up for some of the deficiencies on this team. Defensively, I still have questions about them. Running the football, can they do it consistently? But Cam Ward covers up for a multitude of sins for that team, and I would not want to face him because he's been the best quarterback in the country at making plays down the stretch for his team.
How about last year? I think they were 1-4 in one possession game.
Yes.
This year they've won 3 of them, and Duke Saturday wasn't a one possession game, but it was a 1-point game in the fourth quarter before.
At a certain point.
But yeah, before here's Miami's whole philosophy. We have Cam Ward, and you don't.
Yep.
Yes.
And
it works.
it has worked perfectly. Ranked number 3. The Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia is behind the 2 Big Ten teams. Georgia would be seeded 2nd as the leaders in the SEC if they wind up there and ultimately win the conference. Big game at Ole Miss. Big game coming at home against Tennessee after that. And then the top 2 teams, it's pretty easy. Ohio State is number 2. They would host Boise State to start. Again, this is worth pointing out. Ohio State ranked number 2, but because they would not be a conference champion in this projection, can't be seated in the top 4, that would push them down to the spot that Joey said a couple of weeks ago that would be coveted. And, of course, the number 1 team in the land, the team that beat Ohio State by a single point, the Oregon Ducks. So anything jump out at you that either you like or that you were bothered by?
How much time we got?
Yeah, I can see it on your face.
That much.
I'm a little frustrated. If I'm BYU, I'm really upset. All right, first and foremost, 1, I run the risk of not securing a first-round bye if Boise State ends up in front of me. So the fact that there's only a margin of 3 spots between 12 with Boise State and BYU at 9 is ridiculous. Also, I'm sitting there behind Texas.
It's ridiculous?
I'm sitting there behind Texas. I'm talking about from BYU's perspective. I'm sitting there behind Texas, Penn State. I'm also sitting there behind Tennessee. Texas and Penn State don't have a win against the top 25 team. I have 2. So if I'm BYU, and guess what? I haven't lost. So if I'm BYU, I'm a little frustrated with how this thing has shaken out. And I know it's early, and I know there's plenty still on the table, and they have to go to Utah this week. I get that. But I just feel like them being at 9, 4 spots behind teams that have no wins even close to what they've accomplished and no loss and a couple losses that they don't have, to me would be remarkably frustrating.
When we came into this, I said about the 1-loss team. Let's look at Georgia and Ohio State. Ohio State's ahead of Georgia right now. I think Georgia has the better win, going on the road, beating Texas. Ohio State's best win is against Penn State, but it's clear the committee is valuing maybe the better loss and not the better win. I think Georgia is a better football team than Ohio State, but they have Ohio State ranked better. I wanted to see that. It clearly gives you a glimpse into what this committee is looking at on the initial rankings, Galloway.
I would argue that Ohio State overall has played better than Georgia. Georgia had the sloppy win at Kentucky. They were getting housed in the first half against Alabama. To their credit, they came back. And then they certainly didn't look great against Florida either. Ohio State hasn't had that.
But did we not see Ohio State struggle against Nebraska? Like we've seen Ohio State. All these teams have struggled a little bit, so I'm not going to hold a struggle against you. Did you win?
There are 3 of them, though. If you're splitting hairs between 2 and 3.
I get it. I understand.
And part of that is how you struggle.
Yeah.
When your quarterback has played a lot of football, is struggling, throwing 3 interceptions in half of football, that's an issue.
I understand
for
that.
you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me, as me and Herbie believe you don't get upset in the first rankings. You two are highly heated. And I thought coming in, I thought to myself, like, Greg could have took the rest of the show if Reese would have let him.
Yes.
This is the beginning. So all of these teams are in a position that if you just win, you're fine.
You think that?
The conversations that we have about the SEC is going to be incredible.
Yes.
Because everybody, this is like 5 teams set up in a situation that you got a chance to win and get in this thing. How do you show up when you get there? Because the SEC is brutal right now. And if you look at the other conferences, it's going to be interesting to me moving forward with the SEC teams. How do they come out on the back end after going through these schedules that they're going through?
I think it's going to be. I think you're right, though. When you say that the committee's valuing how you lost and who you lost, they didn't used to do that as much. They used to gauge more who did you beat, and it feels like now who you lost to, how you lost, might factor in more this year.
Well, maybe so, but one thing that I always like to point out when we talk about the committee has done this or done, it's different people.
Fair.
I mean, they have like 3-year cycles. You have different people on the committee. You have a lot of first-time members of the committee this year. All of it is
Indiana's
interesting.
not disrespected.
But you know, the one thing that we really need to point out again, we've talked about conference champions. All of these teams, it might be ranked a little low, a little high. Joey's point's an excellent one. If you win, you can play for your conference championship, and you will be in the playoff. And in BYU's case, you almost certainly, if they finish undefeated, will be a top 4 seed. So
one would hope.
One would hope.
We'll see. Joey's trying.
Just win.
Hey, Joey, how many years did you play in the NFL?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Now, Kirk Herbstreit's awesome. We love Kirk Herbstreit.
But
we do. But you don't have to bolster your opinion by referencing him all the time.
Me,
you know?
Reese.
Oh, is that what it is?
Wow.
He's texting me his opinion.
You just outed him.
Joey, I have such confidence in you.
Your
opinion stands on its own. Your judgment stands alone.
Every time I speak, I see my phone light up.
Still to come, College Football Playoff Top 25. There he is, Ward Manuel. He is the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, also the Michigan Athletic Director. Ward will join us to talk about BYU, among other things, Indiana, and the overall approach to this. We're going to get Booger on the All-State Playoff Predictor board. Let him punch some buttons.
College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands. And in part by Mercedes-Benz.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first.
Alrighty. Who's ready for my famous charred duck?
Like, to check the mascot first before bringing food to a tailgate.
Touch this baby.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
On a Longing, Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, what are you doing here? Texting another conference now.
Yeah, but it's like on the other side of the country. It's really, really far.
But you're not even on our schedule this season.
Maybe we can meet you in the playoffs.
That's crazy talk.
You know what else is crazy? Getting all that Dr. Pepper flavor with 0 sugar.
But Dr. Pepper doesn't have a questionable secondary like Tech does.
Here, catch!
And that's why you're a mascot.
College football, it's a Pepper thing.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
NyQuil VapoCool?
It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks Vapors.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, best sleep with a cold medicine.
That grimy film on your teeth.
Dr. G?
It's actually the buildup of plaque bacteria, which can cause cavities.
Most toothpaste quit working in minutes, but Crespro Health's antibacterial fluoride protects all day.
It stops cavities before they start.
Crest.
The time has come. Two larger-than-life legends collide.
John Jones is back, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world!
Stipe is the most successful heavyweight of all time.
History will be made.
This is MMA at the highest level.
And the world will be watching. One fight for all time.
On Madison Square, catch me at the fight.
Stats matter. Like 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. So the Penn and the Prostate Cancer Foundation want to encourage you to get screened. And now through November, the Penn is donating to cancer research with select purchases.
Heartburn makes you queasy? Get fast relief with new Tums Plus, upset stomach and nausea support, and love food back.
Tums. The $7 Lux Cravings box has the Gordita Supreme? What is this, the 90s? this flashback is off the hook. The 90s Gordita Supreme is back in the $7 Lux Cravings box. Relive the decades, only at Taco Bell. Booyah!
Doncic and Booker, two great players, so competitive. The legend of LeBron continues to grow.
This time is different. Suns, Mavs, Sixers, Lakers on ESPN.
You're watching College Football Playoff Top 25, presented by Allstate.
College basketball tipped off last night. Hubert's guys messed around with Elon, perhaps peeking ahead to this Friday showdown with number 1 Kansas, ESPN2, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Check our complete college football playoff rankings brought to you by Allstate. Oregon number 1 as expected, just as they are in the polls. Ohio State just behind them. Those two played a great game in Eugene. Perhaps they'll meet again in the Big Ten championship game, depending on how the rest of the season plays out. Boise State leading the Mountain West. Their only loss at the hands of Oregon. Ducks needed a couple of special teams touchdowns to beat them. Ashton Genty and the Broncos ranked number 12. In that particular case, we get the automatic bid and would not push anybody else down. You see the rest of the rankings. Army also unbeaten, checking in at number 25. Starting his tenure as the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is our friend Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan. So, Ward, this is a new era of the playoffs, tripled in size in terms of the field. What impact, if any, has it had on the process that the committee goes through in ranking these teams?
Reese, it's great to be with you. The process is the same. We rank the best 25 teams, 1 through 25, and that's exactly what this process is designed to do from the very beginning.
Okay, you look at the top of the rankings right now. You have Oregon, Ohio State. They played that great game. What separated Ohio State from Georgia at number 3?
Well, they both had great wins in terms of on the road, Ohio State against Penn State this week, Georgia at Texas. But what we felt is in terms of the losses they had, Ohio State lost to number 1 Oregon by 1, and Georgia lost at Alabama, who's ranked number 11. And so that was really the difference. I mean, we're splitting hairs in terms of looking at two great teams.
Okay, so that would indicate, though, that a little bit more in this particular case was put on the resume, as opposed to maybe the fact that Georgia has had some moments this year. Still, I mean, look, they're a great team, but had some moments where they've sort of been fits and starts and had some problems. What emphasis was placed on that?
Well, we look at all the games, Reese. I mean, there was a lot of thorough discussion about both teams and their performances on the field. And so you're right. I mean, those things we took into consideration as a part of the discussion. And ultimately, the vote, when it came out, Ohio State was ranked number 2 and Georgia was 3.
Okay, so then you look, let's move down a little bit, the difference between Indiana and BYU. Now, Indiana has looked great, but up to this point, though the schedule's going to get harder, it's been 103rd. BYU's is in the top 60 or right around there. McElroy, for instance, brought up that he thought maybe BYU wasn't getting quite the respect it deserves. How was the evaluation with those two teams, particularly Indiana and BYU?
Well, two great teams, like you said. I mean, Indiana, their strength of schedule is not as strong as BYU's, but what Indiana has done on the field, when we look at those games, they're winning by double digits, averaging 33 points a game, more than their opponents. They're solid on both sides, offensively and defensively. They're just a really, really great team, and so is BYU. And so as we contemplated, as we discussed, as we looked at everything, Indiana was ranked number 8 by the committee, and BYU is right behind them at 9.
Okay, Ward, I know that you guys never project, and I'm not asking you to do that now. I'm asking you from a philosophical standpoint. Let's say that you have a team that's somewhere around that 10, 11, 12 range, and they make it into their conference championship game, one of the Power Fours, and they lose. How will the committee evaluate a team that has to play an extra game but takes another loss? that's right on the cusp. How will that be evaluated? Have you guys talked about that at all?
We haven't talked about it this year yet. We have in the past, in the past couple of years, we've looked at it. And there's been different reasons and different ways that we've looked at it, Reese, as it relates to the outcome in terms of the ranking. We try not to punish, but we also are watching the games. And I think that's important for us as we deliberate to really talk about what we see as we go into it, not just they lost, but how did the game proceed and how was the outcome of the game and how was the performance?
So football judgment employed in this case, so how you play in that game, even if you come up short, will weigh heavily. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes.
All right. Ward Manuel, thanks a lot for being with us. Wish you luck with the rest of the season with the rankings and also with your Wolverines, too. Ward, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Reese.
All right, and just for the record, most people know this by now after 10 years. All of the ADs, whoever you're affiliated with, you literally hang a hat at the door as you walk into the deliberation room. Playoff predictor, boy, I've been waiting for this moment. Got to roll up my sleeves and get into this.
Paid what I bought, new crib psychotic. I'm so.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. I recommend Pronamel Active Shield because it actively shields the enamel to defend against erosion and cavities. I think that this product is a game changer for my patients.
Try Pronamel mouthwash.
Sure, Vistaprint prints business cards, but we also print these and those. And engrave that. We print your brand on everything so customers can notice you, remember you, and fall in love with you. If you need it, we print it with 25% off for new customers at Vistaprint.com.
Restoration is more than walls. It's more than paint. It's more than cleaning. That's the thing we'll never forget. For Belfour, it's your memories. It's your life's passion. It's your home. Belfour, restoring more than property.
I was so excited when I heard this sandwich was back. I was like, Cloud 9, 2 words, Cloud 9. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken, and it's got pickled jalapenos, and it's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet. But either way,
you're getting a winner.
Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Any questions?
How did you become the Capital One Bank guy?
You mind? I've always been passionate about no fees or minimums on checking accounts.
How do I get your job?
Hard work, dedication.
I'm the Capital One Bank guy.
It's like Mr. Jeter said, hard work and dedication.
What's been the highlight of your career?
And that have to be
bank guy.
Helping people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Aren't you in the Hall of Fame?
And didn't you live in space?
What's in your wallet?
What's up, Coach?
Yeah, Troy. You're not going to start this game?
Oh. Did you just sing that you're gonna bench me to the Avocados from Mexico jingle?
Well, they make everything better.
Tastes good? They're good for you? No way. Guacamole. That's cool.
That went better than I thought. Get another tray and the kicker.
Avocados from Mexico.
You never get used to the pressure. You just learn to embrace it. Expectations aren't a burden, they're a privilege. Because it could be worse. No one could expect anything at all.
Monday Night Football in Hollywood? It's giving glamorous. Let's go stargazing. McVay and McDaniel looking Mick awesome in shades. Stafford and Tua, A-list leading men. Puka, Coop, Jalen and Cheetah, action heroes. And let's not forget the return of Ramsey, everyone's favorite antagonist. Stars so bright, I got to... No, I can't see a thing.
Back here on College Football Playoff Top 25. All-State Playoff Predictor, you see the number of teams with a better than 50-50 chance to reach the playoff, many of them highly ranked. Still a number of teams in the mix with a 20 to 49% chance, and we've talked a lot about hope. Still hope to win their conference championship and get their way in. Teams like Colorado, teams like Pittsburgh, even Clemson after that loss still in the mix here. So we're here at the All-State Playoff Predictor Board. Now, a lot of these things we totally understand here as we get into these numbers. A 96% chance that Oregon makes the playoff based on the FPI and what they might do the rest of the way. But I think one of the most fascinating games of the weekend, they're really going to impact these numbers.
Yes.
Georgia and Ole Miss. Let's have a look right here now, Boog. What happens with Georgia should they lose now in this game against Ole Miss? It drops to 87%. What does that tell you?
Not only does it drop to 87%, Reese, that will give them their second conference loss in the SEC. I think they value, though, the big win at Texas. So even though they would have their second loss in the conference, they value the win at Texas. The reason that's 87%.
Okay, so let's take this off. And, Greg, you think that Ole Miss is one of the more fascinating teams. This is really a swing precinct for the Rebels, who are ranked 16 by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, and right now only a 29% chance to get in.
But if they win out,
what happens then? 74%. And that would also, with two conference losses, maybe, depending on what else happens, give them a shot at maybe making the SEC championship
And what would
game.
be interesting there, too, is that Ole Miss and Alabama would have the head-to-head against a two-loss Georgia.
Yes.
So then we start to get, and then you start to think, hang on, I'm Georgia, I beat Texas, but I might be out of this thing.
Exactly.
Like, it gets real uncomfortable really quick.
Joey, and your dress
and
pants?
Reese, I'm telling you, you'd be more comfortable if you was dressed like this.
No, really.
Here's what, but this gets interesting to me with Indiana.
Okay.
As we say, and not just you, Boog, I keep making fun of it, but not just you. A lot of people are saying that Indiana is not getting the respect they deserve.
They aren't.
They're at 87% right now, knowing our predictor runs the schedule. They know these two have to play. And they're at 87% even before they play. And they're ranked at number 8. So if you go, let's just go here, then they go to 90.
Yes.
They have to beat Michigan to go to 96. But if they win out,
if they win out,
they'll win the Big Ten.
If they win out.
Disrespected at that number.
But we've talked about how many different teams with two losses, right? We just talked about LSU with two losses.
Correct.
We talked about Ole Miss, Georgia potentially, Bama.
Bama's got two already.
All right. What if we just assume that Indiana loses at Ohio State? It's not a crazy assumption,
Correct.
right?
Not crazy at all.
What if they also
This
lose?
is already assuming.
That's already assumed.
I think that's baked in. But what if
it's
they
baked in.
lose as a double-digit favorite this weekend against Michigan? Then
Yeah,
you
but we
have a
already know
two-loss
that.
Indiana team.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation where you haven't played anybody, you don't have any leeway to lose to a Michigan. That's why we're saying it's already baked in. It is baked in that they're going to lose to Ohio State, and they're already there.
Well, I know we have some early returns on Indiana. That's really their voting stronghold in the early part. You see these games that they've won, but now a top 15 remaining strength of schedule, Booger, with Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue.
Well, here's the reason I keep saying that Indiana is disrespected, because Indiana is in the Big Ten. You take any other Big Ten or SEC team that's undefeated at this time of the year, they would not be ranked as low as Indiana is ranked. That's the reason why I say Indiana is being disrespected right now.
BYU, win over SMU, only 59%. Greg.
Win over SMU, win over Kansas State, a convincing one over Kansas State, I might add. Let's say they win this week at Utah, it only affects them 13. I'm also kind of starting to get the sense, and I'm not sure that this is some drastic conclusion that we're jumping to here. I think the Big 12 is getting one team in. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about all of this, the Big 12, I thought there was a possibility that if BYU ran the table and lost in the Big 12 title game, they could still get in that large in. I don't see that happening right now with where the conference stacks up and who they stack up against.
Can we go down to Greg, because I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. And so I wanted to go down and look at, like, what happens if, say, a Colorado wins out, or let's say, where did Iowa State go in this thing?
Right there.
Greg, to your point, I was thinking the same thing. Like, if these teams win out now, their number jumps pretty high. Now, that means they won the conference.
Right. Yes, they won the conference. And that means if they win out, then they probably beat them in the
exactly. So it will be interesting to see how those numbers turn out like that. But to your point with BYU, can you say the predictor is disrespecting them? Because this is just numbers.
Yeah.
This is not people, and the numbers are saying that their number's lower than Indiana.
As someone I admire say, it's just math. That's all it is. It's just math.
Something you know nothing about.
No big deal. And then you have all of these teams.
Does this not feel low, by the way? Like, how does Oregon only have 96%?
It feels a little low.
Play a few more games.
It's going to go.
Barring something completely
Greg is clearly never happy. He's never happy about nothing.
It might be low, but it's still higher than everybody.
Yeah, it's the highest.
That's true. But it also at 93 for Georgia. We just talked about the possibility. It's not a guarantee with Ole Miss and Tennessee on the table.
Got to go, and you see what happens. Just 87, but you know.
I'm just saying, that seems high.
That was fun. Stay with us throughout the night. We'll continue to update these election returns as conditions warrant. Bracketology 101, Heather Denich will be here. I'm not sure if she's going to roll up her sleeves and get on the board, but maybe she can break down some of the BYU situation for us. And SEC Showdown, there are actually a couple of them, have big impact on the playoff race and the conference championship race and the elimination games.
At Burger King, we flame grill our burgers. Why? Because that's how it should be done. Hot, juicy, smoky, flame grilled, and made your way. Come experience the flame grilled difference with 2 Whopper Juniors for just $5.
Not so fast. The general's coming with you.
Mom!
He gave us a break on our car insurance, and he'll look after you, too.
Yep, with flexible payment options.
Okay, but why is Shaq coming too?
To show you how it's done. For a great low rate, go with the general.
On a reflective Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Dad, do you ever feel like college football is being changed by all this corporate money flooding into the sport?
I'm sorry I missed that. I was just grabbing a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
I just feel like the brands are taking over.
Dr. Pepper's strawberries and cream for my 2 thirsty boys.
You see what I mean?
You're overreacting, pal.
Aflac! That's the Aflac duck.
It's a normal duck.
He's waving a branded flag.
Aflac! It's a pennant.
My whole life is a commercial!
College football, it's a Pepper thing.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. Feast your eyes on this.
Oh, that's sexy. Feels so new.
I want to feel this feeling again and again.
Can I hold it?
How bad do you want to hold it?
I'm not gonna beg, but pretty please.
Or they don't. Go ahead, press a button.
Oh, it's glowing.
Apple Intelligence. We should do this more often.
Agreed.
Rekindle the feeling of love with the new iPhone 16 Pro on us. And feel it again and again with the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime.
Whoa, how'd you get your teeth so white?
You gotta use the right toothpaste.
Dr. C?
Not all toothpaste whiten the same. Crest 3D White removes 100% more stains for a noticeably whiter smile.
New personal best.
Crest.
At Burger King, we flame grill our burgers. Why? Because that's how it should be done. Hot, juicy, smoky, flame grilled, and made your way. Come experience the flame grilled difference with 2 Whopper Juniors for just $5.
Deadpool and Wolverine, streaming November 12th on Disney+.
That's the whole package right there.
It's the biggest R-rated film of all time.
Come again?
It's action-packed.
Us? A team? Next level.
Glorious fun. Marvel's biggest triumph.
This is what I'm talking about.
Hilarious.
Something funny, Bob.
And verified hot on Rotten Tomatoes.
You really are God's perfect idiot, aren't you?
Deadpool and Wolverine, streaming November 12th on Disney+.
Coach Gecko!
Coach G.
Laura, Dan, I didn't realize the media would be here.
No, this isn't for work. We're just really big fans.
And we're scouting for our fantasy insurance teams.
Geico has all the top prospects, a 97% satisfaction rating. That's unreal.
Oh my gosh, it's Drew! Drew!
Smells like insurance. Suppose Geico does have devoted fans. It's not weird.
Jade, sign my arm.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
She only signs claims checks.
So it's going to come down to this. Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute! There's a flag on the play!
This is College Football Playoff Top 25, presented by Allstate.
Capital One, rewarding performance. The Oregon Ducks, a staple in the college football playoff rankings, are ranked number 1 for the first time in the college football playoff poll. They were number 2 in 2014 when they played in the first national championship game of the playoff era. Dylan Gabriel's been sensational, and the first 9-0 start since 2012. They joined Indiana, Army, Miami, and BYU as the only remaining unbeaten teams. Now, these are the number of teams based on the current College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings that would make the field. That would be 1 team from the ACC, 1 team from the Big 12, 1 team from the Mountain West getting those automatic bids, and the SEC and the Big 10 dominating. The rest of them, Notre Dame is also in the field. Heather Dinich does such a great job covering all of this for us. So, Heather, let's start with this idea of the one-bid leagues, and BYU sitting here with a 4 seed, but only a number 9 ranking despite being unbeaten.
Reese, the 2-loss SEC teams should have the ACC and Big 12's second-best teams very concerned. And as you point out, the Big 12's in a little more precarious position because in the ACC, you have SMU hanging out there at 13. But guess what? That Alabama-LSU game, the loser, they're going to drop down. But the winner, what if LSU wins? They're 15.
They're right there. Yeah.
They're 15 behind Texas A&M. Where do they go? They go up here ahead of SMU, right? So when you're looking at Alabama 2-loss, A&M 2-loss, they're ahead of Iowa State, K-State, Colorado. That's an issue for those teams. I think it could also be an issue for SMU because I think the winner of that Alabama-LSU game is going to stay on top of them for now.
Because you start thinking about it now, and we're entering a portion of the season where there will be elimination games, but there will also be the old school rooting against the others to hope there's some more carnage of everybody beating each other in the SEC and maybe knocking them out that way.
But I would also add that from 2014 to 2023, there has always been at least one 3-loss team in the committee's top 10. Thank you, Stats and Information Group. So you can expect a 3-loss team based on history to be in the committee's top 12.
Okay, and let's go a little bit farther down the bracket. We keep this one really tight because I want to get to one more thing if we can.
Yes.
This really bodes well for the Mountain West and not so much for the American, though undefeated Army is in the rankings at number 25.
Yes, Boise State being in the top 12 is important. And I think you guys mentioned this, but college football fans need to know that if the 5th highest ranked conference champion is out, they would be bumping out a 12th team. But there's the flip side to it. They could be one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions and earn a first round bye.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? When you look at these, we also have to talk about seeding, Reese, because you have 9 versus 8. They're playing the number 1 team in the country. Where don't you want to be? Right there. Where do you want to be? Number 5, right? And then you're playing the lowest seed, and then you get the lowest ranked conference champion. So all of those things are going to matter.
Yeah, you look at this now. I think your alma mater, Indiana, has its highest ranking of the playoff era. They're at number 8 right there, but their schedule is going to get more difficult. But the projections look strong for them as one of the Big 10 teams.
It does. It's good for the state of Indiana because Notre Dame's in there in spite of that loss to NIU. But I would say, based on Indiana having the 103rd worst schedule in the country, that Ohio State game is going to be pretty big. I'm curious to see what happens to Indiana if they lose that game.
You know, Ward Manuel said something interesting. He talked about watching the way teams played, and when the conference championship games come, how do you lose if you're right on the cutting edge? Indiana, I mean, it's a lot to ask to expect them to go in there and win that game. But in order to keep their resume strong and their positioning strong, just go in and play well. And, of course, Signetti's probably furious right now because he does expect to win the game.
Well, how you lose matters. Why is Ohio State number 2? That 1-point loss at Autzen.
That's all that separates those two. But Buckeyes still in a pretty good spot. Heather, we'll do this some more throughout the next few weeks before we get to Selection Day in December. College football playoff top 25 will roll on. After this, we'll look ahead to the SEC showdowns, maybe elimination games. Texas A&M took a loss. Alabama's right on the cusp right now. And then Texas has Florida. And coming up in a matter of moments, Brett Gabbert and the Red Hawks getting set to take on Ball State. Maction, what else you going to do on this Tuesday night? 6 minutes and 4 seconds until kickoff.
Yeah, that's how I get by. Oh, that's how I get by.
ABC Election Night.
When we fight, we win. We
will soon be a great nation again.
Who will be your next president? Election night, this is where America turns for answers. ABC Election Night Live.
Advil liquid gels are faster and stronger than Tylenol rapid release gels. Also from Advil, Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact and lasts up to 8 hours.
Stats matter. Like 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. So Depend and the Prostate Cancer Foundation want to encourage you to get screened.
And now through November, Depend is donating to cancer research with select purchases.
In every generation, there are those who question the status quo. Questions like, why can't chicken be slow roasted? Why can't I have shredded purple cabbage? Why can't my quesadilla have cheese inside and out? And where's my avocado verde salsa? The new era of chicken is here to stay. The Cantina Chicken Menu. Only at Taco Bell.
It starts with a spark. The feeling of finding just the right thing. The gift that sparks something uncommon. Something memorable. Something special. Spark something with Uncommon Goods.
We all need fiber for our digestive health, but less than 10% of us get enough each day. Good thing Metamucil gummies are an easy way to get prebiotic plant-based fiber with the same amount of fiber as 2 cups of broccoli. Metamucil gummies, the easy way to get your daily fiber.
All right, Tina, 6 is hard to beat.
Not for us.
Okay, not soccer, but
Football.
Yes. We honeymooned here.
Mallorca.
Yes. Pass.
No, we don't pass, Tina. Come on, baby.
They help give you more.
A tax professional.
And they have a 97% satisfaction rating.
Salami.
You could have done it in a British accent.
That's helpful, Randy.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
So it's going to come down to this. Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute. There's a flag on the play!
College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands.
College game day going to Baton Rouge Saturday morning, the Saban Bowl, some might call it. Alabama and LSU. Nick making his return as an analyst. Probably be a story or two from some of the return trips he made as head coach of the Crimson Tide. And then that will be the primetime game on ABC Saturday night. Alabama and LSU both backed into a corner, as our Goodyear road test will show you. Alabama is at the better of the series against LSU, but home games at night under Brian Kelly. The Bayou Bengals have been perfect, including an overtime victory 2 years ago against the Crimson Tide. So this is, LSU could still theoretically work its way into the SEC championship game, but it feels like an elimination game for the playoffs.
No doubt about it. And hopefully the LSU defense has figured out how to tackle the zone read, because against A&M, they had no clue. And you know that Alabama's going to run it with Jalen Milroe. And for an offense that's been led by Garrett Nussmeier, can he figure out what color jerseys the Tigers are wearing? They're not going to run the football a lot.
It'll be white at home.
They're not going to run the football a lot. He's going to have to throw them to a win. So those are the two things I'll be watching.
Yeah, Georgia-Ole Miss is interesting. When Georgia plays an unranked team like they did last week against Florida, they tend to struggle in those games.
Yeah.
When they play a ranked team and it's a time to get up, they get up and play well. An Ole Miss team that found their offense last week in the SEC against Arkansas looked really good. So that should be a really exciting game. Carson Beck has to play better. Can't throw interceptions. Yeah, I can't wait to watch the Georgia-Ole Miss game, because it's the first time it feels like Ole Miss is actually going to a battle with capable artillery, right? Like, they actually have the weapons along the defensive front to be able to go and potentially make life difficult for Carson Beck, who's struggled seeing the field the last few weeks. So I never felt like Ole Miss had a fair chance in games like this. With how they've recruited and what they've attracted in the portal, I actually think they're more capable now than they've ever have before. So we'll see how they fare.
I think there's a lot of high stakes and a lot of pressure on Ole Miss here, too, because if not now, when? Yeah, I mean, because you get all of those, you get all of those defensive front guys. But it's right.
It's true.
Right.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And
slipping,
and if you're Lane Kiffin, you get to go against this defense, and we all think he's one of the better play callers in the country. Go prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Go prove it.
You disagree with this? I mean,
no, I totally agree.
I mean, Lane wanted to play at night. If he'd beaten Kentucky, he would have.
I
mean,
totally agree.
But I
feel like we've had this conversation for a lot of years about Ole Miss. Is this your year?
But what he said is right.
Over the hump. Well, we're going to find out. Yeah. What he said versus them going out the field and stopping Georgia is two different things. We're going to find out if what he said is right.
On paper, they look different.
Yeah. Paper ain't going to tackle nobody.
Oregon.
Paper's got 42 sacks.
Oregon is number one, deservedly so. They've been the best and most consistent team from the start. There's one team I would not bet against. It's Georgia. Matt Schumacher, Dustin Fox, Maction right now.